Thank everybody for coming. First of all, I'd like to start by thanking Mr. Dolan, Leon Rose, for this incredible opportunity. I'd also like to acknowledge my fiancee, Ro, for her continued support and for being here. I look forward to working with Leon, forming a great partnership with our shared common goal of winning a championship. I'm honored and excited to be the new head coach of the New York Knicks. You talk about a historic franchise, Madison Square Garden. It's iconic. Our fans, they're the most knowledgeable and passionate, probably in all of sports. There's a lot of work to be done. We have an outstanding roster. What they did in the playoffs shows their potential. I've had great conversations with all of our players, and I'm looking forward to growing positive, strong relationships with all of them over time. Our goal, starting with Mr. Dolan, to Leon, to the players, all the way down to the fans, is to build a sustainable winning culture that produces championships. That's why I'm here. I'm fortunate to know what it takes to create that success. A lot of hard work, a high level of commitment, and a focus on today. Now, a lot of you guys are going to say, this sounds cliche, and it is, but we can't skip any steps. It's about one day, one practice, one shoot around at a time. The soul of our identity when it comes to culture, it's going to be based on a trust that's centered around sacrifice, a connectivity, a competitive spirit, and an overall belief in the process and each other. I'm looking forward to getting to know you all. But there's a lot of work to do, and I'm ready to get started.
Okay, now we're going to open up to the questions.
Coach, just your style of play that you want to play, and just what's it like having Jalen Brunson kind of run your team?
The first thing is, everybody knows I like to play fast. And like I said, we have an outstanding roster. I'm excited about that. And to have a guy like Jalen out there gives you the versatility to play all different types of ways, which is what it's going to take throughout a course of a ball game.
Mike, Steve Popper from Newsday. I know you've had expectations in other jobs you've taken, stepping in behind Phil and stuff. Just kind of what is it for you coming into a team that's reached the conference finals, the expectations you're stepping into?
Well, there's nobody has any bigger expectations, first of all, than I do. My expectations are high. But this is the Knicks. I talked about Madison Square Garden being iconic. I talked about our fans. I love and embrace the expectations that come along with it. So I'm looking forward to it.
When obviously a team makes the conference finals, there's going to be questions about why did they fire the last guy, what does the new guy bring
Well, first of all, Tom's a tremendous coach, and he is a friend of mine. But I don't want to get into the past. I'm just excited about the roster. I'm excited about the things that we're going to put in place here and where we can go with the guys that we have.
Mike, how's it going? Christian with the New York Knicks, welcome to New York.
Thank you.
In terms of championship caliber, good basketball, how do you define that? What is your vision of good basketball, particularly with the pieces you have on both sides of the floor?
Well, it's a twofold question. What I've experienced, and I said it in my opening statement, I've been to 6 finals with 3 different teams, and the commonality that they all had is they all sacrifice for one another. They're all connected. The connectivity, it's at the highest, and it starts with ownership on down. They all have a competitive spirit, and there's a high level of belief, not just in the process, but each other. So those 4 things are common amongst all the teams that I've been with that have participated in the finals.
Mike, James Edwards, fan club, very nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
Obviously, when you're going into a job search, you want to sell yourself to the team. When you go into those, what do you want to hear from the team in terms of what they want to do to help enhance you and set you up for success too?
The first thing, the only person I really had to sell myself to was Roe, and obviously it worked. That's why she's sitting right there. But I respect Leon's process. I feel like I'm a detailed guy. I feel like I'm thorough with anything and everything that I try to do. So it's no different here. I was just myself throughout the process. Had great conversations with Mr. Dolan, obviously with Leon and his group, because my whole thing is I want to form a partnership with him to do this together. It's impossible to do on your own, and obviously the outcome is exciting for me because I'm sitting in the seat that I wanted to be in.
Mike, how are you? Chris Herring from ESPN. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
One of the things that stands out a lot from the job you did in Sacramento and just generally is I think you're seen as a coach who holds his guys accountable. And I think obviously you coached under Pop. And what does that look like for you with star players and your willingness to kind of hold them to account? What does that look like given that so many of the players had tight relationships with the last coach and a group of them played in the same program in college? Like, what does that look like to you to ask for accountability? What does it look like with this group of yours?
Well, in general, I think that is a part of my job. It's one of my values is accountability, but not just for players, and even for myself. I expect people to hold me accountable. But at the end of the day, it's about relationships. It's about the trust that I talked about. And once you grow those relationships, then you're going to talk openly about anything that you need to in the direction that you need to go. And so I'm going to be open and honest with them, and I'm sure they're going to be open and honest with me. And like I said, I'm no different.
Hey, Mike, Ian Bagley, SNY, nice to meet you.
My pleasure.
I know you said there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of that is looking at this team and what they can do and what you may or may not change. I'm just wondering, the starting 5, particularly late in the year, they had a tough time defensively. Do you see areas where they can improve on defense or things that, let me do this, and maybe we can get some more stuff? Do you see that at all with this group?
Well, again, I thought, what the group did this past year in the playoffs, it just shows their potential, and not just defensively but offensively too. And so I'm looking forward to putting a plan in place and working with those guys on both ends of the floor. I love their length. I love their versatility. And so implementing something or my vision is very exciting for me, and hopefully it is for everybody else, because I think the ceiling is high on both ends for the group.
Mike, Frank Gatz from The Athletic.
Good to see you.
I was curious, the beginning couple months of the year, the Knicks
Like I said, I thought Tom Thibodeau did a great job, and the guys did a fantastic job last year. But I'm looking forward. We got, we just added 2 new additions to the team that are going to bring a lot of versatility to how we're going to play. I just can't wait to get on the court and start implementing things that we want to do offensively to help us grow and take it to another level. But we still got some time before we do that. How you doing? Good to see you.
It seemed like over the course of this year, there were quite a few coaching changes, really starting with you, went on to Memphis and Denver, and finally here, that surprised people. The team had done very well. The guy had a great run there, took them to places they hadn't gone in a long time. Is it getting harder as a coach to sort of understand what the organization wants, or why do you want to keep doing this, jump right back in and keep going as a coach?
I mean, I'm passionate about coaching. I want to win. And, you want to be in a great place that has like thinking. And so I know for me, especially speaking with Mr. Dolan, speaking with Leon, and I have a history with Leon, knowing who he is as a person, knowing that I'd love to partner with him, and then looking at the roster. And the reality of it is, Rose said, we better move to New York because I'm a foodie. So when you combine all those things, it was a no-brainer for me. The league is the league, and there's always going to be ebbs and flows in terms of how the hiring and firing process goes, and you just embrace it and you keep moving forward.
Congratulations on your goal. In Sacramento, your first year, ending the playoff drought, what do you bring from that experience here in your first year?
I learned a lot, not just in Sacramento, but throughout my entire career. I'm a firm believer that if you don't evolve, no matter what profession you're in, I'm sure you guys feel it too, especially some of you guys that have been around for a long time. Okay, I'm not going to say any names. I'm just pointing out that way. I'm not saying any names, but for some of you guys that's been around a long time, and you feel the young bucks. I'm not pointing it or saying it. You feel the young bucks clawing at the back of your heels, and so learning, growing, evolving throughout the course of your time of where you're at is something that I'm a firm believer in, and I can't just pinpoint one thing, but I know I appreciate my time in Sacramento. I appreciate the fans there, and I appreciate the opportunity that Vivek gave me to run his team.
I want to kind of piggyback in on that.
Okay.
Evolving. I mean, basketball has obviously evolved from when you first started as a coach to
Yeah.
now. Just how have your views on basketball changed, considering how the game is evolving, considering your experience on the bench in Golden State, you guys won a bunch of titles. Just how has their view on basketball changed with the game?
It's changed in a lot of different ways. I mean, I can go far back. My first bench job was with the Washington Bullets. They were still called the Bullets back then, and we were playing at the Cap Center still in Landover, Maryland. And we had Chris Webber and Juwan Howard and Tracy Murray and all those guys, Tim Legler, and you learn a lot from not just your experience as a coach with the other coaches there, but also from the players. When I was in San Antonio with David and Tim, it was about playing inside out. And now, fast forward to my time with Steve, it's about pace and space. And that's where the game is. And like I said, if you can't evolve, you're going to get left behind. And so I feel like I'm trying to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some of that here. Pleasure.
A question about the Eastern Conference landscape. Some of the high-achieving teams have suffered crippling injuries that could affect them in the coming season. How do you see the Knicks as they stack up in the conference landscape?
Well, first of all, you don't ever want to see anybody get hurt, especially like the way those guys did. excuse me, that's unfortunate. Throw basketball out the window. That's just unfortunate for them as individuals, and on top of that, for their families and organizations and all that other stuff. But there are a lot of good teams out there. It doesn't matter if those guys are injured or not. At the end of the day, teams are going to find ways to win, and so we don't feel like it's going to be any easier just because of the injuries. Going forward, we're going to have to focus on this thing one day at a time, one practice at a time, one shoot around at a time, and try to get better each and every day. So when it comes time to make our run in the playoffs, we're ready.
Stephen Bond with the New York Post.
Good. And
You obviously took Sacramento in a short amount of time to places that hadn't been in a very long time.
Yeah.
So from this coach, it was very unclear why they fired you. And did you ever get a clear idea of what happened there?
I don't even want to get into it because that's behind me. I'm excited about being here in New York, and like I said earlier, taking her to a couple of restaurants because it probably won't happen come September, October, at least for the next 6 months. But I'm again thankful for the opportunity out in Sacramento.
So I just got one.
Yeah.
Coaching guys like LeBron, coaching guys like Steph, Kevin Durant, Tim Duncan, what does that experience help you with from job to job and from here?
That's part of my evolution. I learned a lot from all those guys, from Tim Duncan to LeBron to Steph to KD to Draymond to Foxy. I mean, you go down the line because they're all different. That's what makes my experience, my background, in my opinion, helped me be different or unique. Just being around those guys. Even a guy like Andre Iguodala, who I love to death. Just all those guys helped me grow in some way, shape, or form, and they all, whether they want to admit it or not or whatever, they all have a little bit to do of why I'm standing right here.
Mike Carroll from New York Post. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm curious how closely you followed watching these guys last year. Obviously, in the moment, you didn't realize you'd be standing there.
Right.
And you were just watching it, assuming you were watching it as a guy who likes basketball and knows basketball and is interested in it. What were your impressions then, not realizing you were going to be coaching, but just watching him as a basketball person?
Well, again, watching them as a fan, which I did not just here, but with every team in the league. You're excited. I said that they have we have an outstanding roster. What they did in the playoffs shows their potential, and I'm looking forward to getting to work with these guys.
All right, we'll do a couple more, James. Mike, what are the first few days of getting a new job like? How soon are you talking to players? How soon are you trying to finalize your staff? Can you just take us through that process of the moment you knew you would come here to today, I guess?
Yeah, it's a lot of that. You want to reach out to all your players. You want to start that line of communication going because at the end of the day, again, I go back to this is what you guys do. It's about relationships, and those relationships are some of the most important relationships that I'm going to have going forward. And so touching base with them, getting that process going, and then I want to be collaborative. I want to form that partnership with Leon. Again, I'm excited to do that with him, and so he and I, we just started, sitting down and talking about different ways to formulate a staff. So that's going to be a process that's ongoing, and who knows how long it will take. But those are a couple of things that you really start to dive into, as well as trying to figure out the landscape and all that other stuff when you get a job.
Hey, Mike, just your thoughts, based on what you saw of Karl Towns and Mitchell Robinson, the idea of those two guys sharing the floor together.
Once I get my staff together and we dive more into it, We'll figure out, all those types of things. I'm excited that they're both on the team, obviously, because they're two different players. Mitchell's a vertical threat. Cat, as you know, is a space threat. And so to have the versatility that those two guys bring to the table is going to be a lot of fun.
Last question.
In all your stops,
Sorry.
is there a Mike Brown way to play, or do you adapt to roster and opportunity each time you go to?
No, that's a great question. I think you have a philosophy on both ends of the floor, but you have to make sure that it fits with your personnel. So it's ever evolving, and it will be here once our roster is final, our staff is final. We'll lay the groundwork or the foundation for what we're going to do going forward as a unit.
Thank you, everybody. Nice coaching.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.